Hey everyone, Eddie Campos here with Remax Preferred Associates, and this is another episode of Coffee with Eddie. Thanks for tuning in. You know, it seems like March 13th was just not that long ago, and the schools had to make this drastic decision to have students learn at home. Dr. Cramer, as an outsider, it seems like things have worked as well as can be expected in some pretty extreme circumstances.
No, thank you for that. And once again, thank you for the ongoing conversation related to this important topic as, you know, we make this transition and continue to make this transition really. Our parents becoming at-home educators and our teachers becoming online providers of that education. And I just can't say enough about the support both from our parents in making that transition as well as our educators. I mean, they were informed on a Friday that we would be making this transition, and by Wednesday we were up and running.
Well, I think things have run as smoothly as can be expected. I know that it took a lot of coordination on your part as far as trying to make all of this work, working with the curriculum director, Michelle Schaefer. I'm sure coordinating efforts with unions and the city, and not a small task to tackle. So from that date to now, things have been fairly steady. Everybody's at home. The governor's talked about having this kind of slow release back into normalcy. How is this impacting the school? What is the plan for the school from this point on?
So all of our educators will continue to work from home. However, those who are serving in positions that typically require their presence, our custodians, bus drivers, maintenance personnel. We're currently, like many other businesses, taking a look at how can we have our employees safely return to work, accomplish what we need to, but once again, keeping safety at the foremost importance as we make all these decisions in the coming really days. Like many, we reached out to the Lucas County Health Department for some additional guidance after Governor DeWine made the announcement yesterday. And once we receive that guidance, I believe we'll be able to then reach out to our staff and provide a clear communication as to what the coming days and weeks will begin to look like. The other piece is communicating to our students as far as how we are going to handle the pickup of materials from school, and our teachers being able to safely enter our buildings and prepare their classrooms for summer cleaning.
So what is the next step as far as looking at the future and the start of the school year for 2020?
You know, we really believe at this point, all options need to be on the table. Right now, we're scheduled to start in the middle of August, and we are taking a look, is that the most advantageous position for us to be in, or should we move back the start date? There are several concerns with starting in mid-August, including will we have the proper PPE for our staff and students? Will we have the proper cleaning supplies on hand? We're hearing of shortages of both of those items, as well as some other common practices that we need to be able to put in place to protect our staff and our students. And we want to be sure that we have time to engage in all that work and be able to really return to school in a way that, once again, is safe for all of our students, our staff, as well as our guests that come into our buildings.
So if that were in fact going to happen and school was going to begin mid-August, what would be the requirements of students returning back as far as PPE?
Well, my understanding is all students would definitely need to wear a face mask when they're interacting with one another. And not so much PPE, but be fever and symptom free for around 5 days before they would be allowed to attend school. So those would be our most significant concerns. And then in addition to that, can we maintain social distancing if that is still a parameter that our governor has in place in our classrooms? So that leads us then to discussions about having students possibly come in waves or shifts, as well as we need to take a look at the reality that all parents, even if the orders are lifted, may not be comfortable having their students return to school yet. We do have students who have medical concerns and would fall into that high-risk category. So how can we provide an education for those students as well? Those are just some of the things we're giving consideration to as we think begin to think about opening for next school year.
My next question was going to be actually in regards to graduation. Has there been any thought about any possibilities of a graduation ceremony online, anything of that nature?
There have been ongoing conversations, and without revealing too much detail, because we have that email, I believe, going out either today or tomorrow. What it is going to reveal is we really felt it was important to the greatest extent possible to provide that graduation experience whereby students can walk across a stage and receive a diploma. And so what we've been working on is how can we accomplish that goal in a safe manner. And so what we're working on, and we have finalized, but it has not been shared out broadly yet, is a plan that allows us to accomplish that. It will mean that our graduation ceremony will not be all together. In other words, we will not be able to take 1,200 people and put them into one facility. However, we will be able to provide an in-person experience for all of our students.
So another question I have is in regards to personnel. You know, teachers definitely have a main function here, but supporting staff throughout the school system, how is this going to be able to impact them moving forward?
You know, we've been very fortunate. Our board from the first day of the pandemic was declared, had a commitment to our staff members that we were going to do our best to endure this pandemic and maintain employment for our staff. So that said, that has been our position through today with that topic. Now, as we look to plan for next year, right now we are planning to have students in our buildings. So we will be fully staffed and ready for that. The one area we are taking a look at is, are there staff who are not under contract for next year? We have some staff that provide intervention services, as well as some other supports that, should we not have students in person in front of us, we're taking a look at what level of personnel we are going to need to support our kids should we be online. I think we need to be realistic about the fact that our budgets will be cut from most likely the state and the federal government, and anything we can do to prepare for that now will be once again advantageous for us in the future. So we're continuing to really sift through that. The other item that we went ahead and took action on is 6 weeks ago we froze all of our budgets. So any non-essential spending has been frozen, and we will see some significant savings from that as well.
You know, that is an interesting point when you said that you're projecting that, you know, funding will be altered. You know, there's stimulus packages that are available for the average person. Do you know if at the state level, they are looking at ways to be able to continue funding schools at their normal level in spite of this, just because it's so important for schools to be in place and operating?
The reality that's been shared with us, and I have the pleasure of serving on several committees and interacting with our state superintendent on an ongoing basis, is that we will have a reduction in our funding next year from the state of Ohio. Now, we may also be eligible for federal funding, which will help offset any losses in that state funding. The difficulty is most likely the federal funding will be short-term. And once we receive that reduction in state funding, it will take years for us to catch back up from that loss. We will always essentially be behind, because I do not anticipate them having a makeup year of some kind where we would get a significant increase. That, in addition to the fact that we were already flat funded this year with a 0% increase. So any decrease is a true decrease. It's not as if we received a 5% increase from the state of Ohio this year.
Sure.
We received a 0% increase from the state of Ohio, and now we're looking at a reduction not only for this coming year, but I also heard today the following year as well. So the 21-22 season, we could see even a more significant reduction then.
Well, it sure seems like you've had your hands full for the past 2 months, in preparing and implementing the things that have had to have happened. My general impression from speaking to people in the community is that they are very pleased with the way that you and everyone at the school system has been handling things. I think it's great that the school has been offering meals not only to students but people that are just in need. So we really appreciate your role in maintaining this great community in spite of a lot of difficulties that we've had to go through.
Thank you again. And as you mentioned earlier, we are very blessed to have the community that we have, to have the staff that we have here on hand. We could not have accomplished what we have without a team working together. When I say team, it's not a group of administrators sitting around. We've been in constant consultation with all of our staff, really gathering their ideas on really a variety of issues. And without all of those individuals really contributing to our success, we wouldn't be where we are. So really kudos to all of our staff who've continued to work hard and make a difference.
Well, thank you very much. Is there anything in closing that you'd like to get out to the community before we wrap up?
No, just, my word that from a budgetary standpoint, I certainly understand the difficulties that the city is going through, and we are going to do our best here as a school district once again to make sure that we're responsible with our taxpayer dollars as well. And the other point is to please stay tuned for future communications. We have some significant announcements, for examples about grades, about how we're going to end the year, our student pickup of materials coming out in the coming days. And so to stay tuned with all those communications. And as always, if you have a question, please feel free to reach out. We continue to be here to serve.
And we really do appreciate the way you guys communicate with everyone through text and voice and email. There's really no way these things can really be missed. You really just have to try to avoid everything to not get the word out. So thanks for being able to, provide communication in an excellent way.
Thank you.
I did have one last thing. Dr. Hawari, is it Dr. Hawari?
Mr. Hawari.
Mr. Hawari.
He should be a doctor.
He seems like it. He did an awesome job of putting that collaboration of kids together. We've seen a few other things like that. Have you been witness to some pretty impeccable students that are, making some great things happen while this is going on?
Absolutely. It really has been an opportunity for especially those that are creative to shine. And it's been great to see both from our student aspect from that, as well as, we had a parent reach out to us that had twin girls who were turning 16 this past week. And she said, is there any way you can do something special? And our administration right away jumped in. And once again, everyone's working hard to make the best of this. Including our kids who, as you alluded to, I think all the way from elementary through our seniors, it's been great to see their ingenuity.
Yeah, it's nice to see that there's some sunshine and some light at the end of the tunnel that's come in through all of this, because it seems kind of bleak some days and things just aren't, because things haven't felt that normal in a while. So it's nice to see these awesome kids doing some things out in the community.
100% agreed. We all need it.
Yeah. Well, thanks again. I appreciate your time and good luck going through the rest of the summer and the start of the school year.
No, thank you. And then, like I said, please feel free to reach out if we can be of assistance.
Thank you.
Thanks.